In pharmaceuticals, as in any industry, profitability is key to success. In this webcast, I'm going to focus on the chances that a new product will turn out to be profitable. But profitability is quite difficult to assess without being party to confidential figures. The most commonly cited figures on product profitability come from an evaluation in 2002 by Henry Grabowski and John Vernon of Duke University with Joseph DiMassi from Tufts University. They concluded that only 30% of new products from the 1990s cover their costs. This seemed to me not to ring true. Remember the 1990s? It was a golden era when few pharmaceutical companies ever reported losses. This remains the most recent comprehensive review, but more recently, in 2010, two of the co-authors suggested in a further article that the 30% figure should be revised down to just 20%. This was because the cost of capital had been underrepresented in the 2002 evaluation. In my book Transforming Big Pharma, published in 2013, I suggested in detail why this model might be underestimating profitability. But I want to move on now to examine the new products first launched this century. I cover products first launched between 2000 and 2006. There were 226 in all, about 32 per year on average. I found that 22% of them had actually reached global sales of over $1 billion. That is, they had become blockbusters. Now, I think most people would agree that very few blockbusters indeed are likely to be unprofitable. So we can fairly safely say that on the basis of blockbusters alone, the 20% figure from the 2010 survey has been outstripped. Bear in mind also that some additional products may still become blockbusters. It takes much longer than is often imagined for product sales to reach their peak globally. The average for successful products is around 13 years. So a few more of the products launched between 2000 and 2006 could still become blockbusters. I'll show you what I mean by looking at the rather remarkable 2004 vintage of new products. In that year, just 23 were launched. However, a remarkable number have become blockbusters. But as you can see, it took until 2013 before the most recent two products in red did so. Of course, a product doesn't have to become a blockbuster to be profitable. I think that most people would agree that half blockbusters, that is, products reaching annual sales of at least $500 million, are very likely to be profitable. I believe that the borderline on profitability lies somewhere between 1/3 and $500 million. So, how many products reach these levels? If you add in just the half blockbusters in brown, 1/3 of all products launched can be considered to be profitable. Adding all the third blockbusters in grey would take the figure to just over the 40% mark. Of course, there are some smaller specialty products, for example those sold to small target groups, that can be very profitable, particularly when sold by medium-sized or smaller companies, but it isn't easy to take these into account. I think it's reasonable to say that at the very least, 1/3 of all products, and perhaps closer to or even over 40%, become profitable. In other words, approaching or perhaps exceeding double the 20% calculated in the most recent Tufts and Duke University's assessment. Now, this difference really matters. I believe that the pharmaceutical industry is in danger of seriously underestimating the potential of the products it is developing. it sends the wrong message to potential investors, and products which should be developed are not being progressed because they are wrongly seen as unlikely to reach profitability. To avoid this waste of potentially profitable products demands a better quality of commercial evaluation. At TranScrip, we have vast experience of evaluating new products of all shapes and sizes and in a wide variety of therapeutic areas. And this extends from R&D right through to commercial evaluation, ensuring that your product's potential is given full measure.